Hello again, everybody. Hey, this is Tom Davis, recruiting director for Student Athlete World Recruiting. Just having another great interview. Today, I have Lawrence Nesselrodt, who's the head baseball coach at West Virginia Tech, and I have his pitching coach, Luke Scherzer, who had a pretty interesting run through college and playing, and he can fill you in. Coach, putting you on the thing. Head coach Lawrence Nesselrodt, West Virginia Tech.
Appreciate it, Tom. It's great to be with you, and always good to talk with you. But this is a great opportunity to reach out with you, and appreciate Luke Scherzer being with me, my pitching coach. And just wanted to tell you a little bit about WVU Tech baseball, and you certainly had a interesting approach, kind of giving us an opportunity to talk a little bit about how crazy this COVID time is for all of us. That it's certainly been unique, but one of the things the game teaches us is that it's all about adjustments, and we've certainly been living through that. I think one of the truest things that was said was our president, WVU Tech, said in the beginning that this thing was going to be very fluid, and man, that's proven every day and continuing to be so true. So, but again, very blessed here at WVU Tech from the beginning. I mentioned Luke is my pitching coach. I'll let him give a little bit of his resume, and hopefully he's not going to be shy about it. But had a Division I career at Virginia Tech, and some great summer league experience, and a couple injuries, or he'd be playing pro ball right now. But next best thing is having that opportunity to coach, and this is my 38th year of college coaching, and it's hard to say that because it makes me sound old, but I started very, very young. But no way to avoid the fact that when you've coached for 38 years, no matter how young you start, you got some games underneath your belt, and nothing I'd rather do than coach baseball. Good Lord bless me, and I tell all the recruits, 1983, I got a college degree, and I actually got my degree in business, but the opportunity came available for me to be a head coach at Garrett Community College at the age of 23. And since then, I've told recruits, because I got a college education, I've never worked a day in my life. And the years have flown by. But, so I actually...
That's interesting. I mean, been in it like you. I was actually at University of Charleston then, and got to play 4 years and pitch in the Red Sox system for 4 years. And since then, a lot the same thoughts. You know what? Haven't worked a day of my life, coaching and everything. And of course, the wife often tells me that too. We have another guy coming in. Do you know Nizer?
Nizer, yes. It was actually one of our recruit. He's a guy that's helping us out down in the Florida area, and I just was talking to him about a couple recruits, and I said, well, there's going to be an opportunity for you guys to hear me talk a little bit as far as just what our program's all about, and just baseball in general. So welcome, Nizer.
Hi, thank you.
So that's great. We, go back with Tom, just met him across the recruiting trail. And again, you don't know, it's a small world with baseball. And, we've met people and coached people from all over the world. That's one of the unique things. I actually had never coached Latin players until I started at WVU Tech, which was all of a sudden. Just to give my quick resume, unique situation for myself. Of course, I wanted to play professional baseball, but didn't get that opportunity. And but my old college coach, Phil Caruso, who's now the head coach at Fairmont State, is one of my best friends. And he offered me an assistant job there in 83, 84. And then in 85, I was fortunate enough to take over as a head coach there. So I basically retraced my college steps because I did 9 years at Garrett Community College, and then Davis and Elkins College is where I had played. They offered me the head coaching job, and I was certainly, after 9 years, loved the JUCO game. It was high level. Steve Bazarnik was one of the greats of all time down at Allegheny Community College, just retired last year. But we had been fortunate there to have good success at Garrett. I think we had 8 guys who were drafted out of there, sent several guys on to Division I's, NAIA's, good programs around the country. And then Davis and Elkins asked me, and after 9 years at JUCO, I was ready to start coaching guys for a 4-year period. And I know you wanted me to talk a little bit about recruiting, and I think that's very eye-opening for student athletes, high school kids to understand, when you're making that decision, which is one of the first big decisions that you make in your lifetime, is where am I going to go to college? I think, there's a lot of good opportunities out there, but you have to make visits. And I encourage guys that even say they want to come to our school. I like for them to go look around a little bit and make that decision. And, there's a lot of variables that go into that as far as finances, geographics. Meeting the coach is certainly very important, just to find the individual that you're going to be comfortable with, because they have no idea when they're juniors, seniors in high school that 4 years is just a drop in a bucket. And there's a lot of guys that don't just change their majors during that college career, but they change their schools. And that's not uncommon, especially in this day and age. But I was able to go back to Davis and Elkins, work there for 8 years as a head coach. And we had good success. We had a great program when I played there. When I came back, they had a few coaching changes, and we actually were 12th out of 12 when I started there. And by the time I left, we had played for the championship twice. We had achieved a 3.0 grade point average, which is, again, one of the reasons that I wanted to get in the 4-year environment, to work with a student athlete that was committed to not just playing ball, but getting an education. And we were able to do some great things there at D&E. But situation evolved to where, we just weren't supported the way that I wanted to be. Our goal is to win a national championship, and I want to be in a position where we can do that. And Coach Bailey, the guy that I called when I was a 23-year-old head coach, and just told him, I said, Coach Bailey, he was the best coach that I'd played against, and probably you could say the same thing, Tom.
A lot of respect for him. I played against him. I'll tell you what, I will tell you just a quick story about how my freshman year, we were playing them down at Wat Powell and beat them 5-1, did good. And then the next game, DH'd, went 3 for 4 and everything. And I can remember leaving Wat Powell after everybody and was walking down McCorkle Avenue down to UC, and the guy in a pickup truck stops by, rolls down the window, and actually was like, I can't believe they're making you walk back. I said, no, it was me. I was doing everything. And it was him, hopped in the back of his truck. Me and him have gotten along great since. It was good going back and coaching against him when I was at UC. And he's a guy that's that I will miss all the time. Great coach and great teacher.
Yeah, one of the best. And again, my first phone call to him, that was the first thing I did. They offered me the job. I went to my new office, and it was back in the day. I actually opened up a phone book and looked up West Virginia State's phone number. I still remember it. Now nobody knows phone numbers anymore, but I can tell you his office number was 304-766-3208. I called it up and said, Coach Bailey, this is Lawrence Nesselrodt, a shortstop, played against you for 2 years. Just got named head coach at Garrett Community College. I was wondering, how do you do this? And he laughed, and we were great friends. And unfortunately, we lost him last year to cancer at what a career he had. And I tell people in a 1,000 years from now, he'll still be the greatest college coach in the state of West Virginia. Was a great educator, like you said. I think you summed it up well. And after 8 years at D&E, they actually beat us when I was coaching at D&E. They beat us in the championship in 2000, and they cut our budget, cut our scholarship, and back at D&E. And I called Coach Bailey and said, "Man, I can't believe this. You know, we've got this GPA, and we got winning teams. We had Player of the Year 2 of the last 3 years, and had things rolling. But things change, and Coach Bailey said, "Why don't you quit beating your head against the wall and come down and work with me?" So what a blessing that was, that I got a chance to coach with him for 7 years. We went to the '05 World Division II World Series. We're ranked number 3 in the nation, and '06 got upset in the regionals, but just a great opportunity. And during that time, I went down to the Valley League, where Luke is coaching now. I went down, coached Stanton and Waynesboro. Had 7 awesome years down there. Won 4 championships. I think with Cal, we won 5 out of 7. So I got real spoiled and loved that winning part of it. But knew I wanted to be a head coach. And in 2008, I got married for the first time at 48 years old, and life changed much for the better. But Luke, I might as well use my line that I always talk about, because my wife, I told her very early in our dating process, she was a 3-1 pitch that I'd patiently waited for. But we also had the opportunity. WVU Tech came and offered me that job, and it was a fixer-upper as well, but we're very proud of the program here. We've achieved the 3.0 GPA now at WVU Tech, and that's something I hope that we can hold on to. And it's tough here because it's a very good academic school, by far the best academic school that I've coached at. And with the engineering program, our number 1 pitcher is he's going to med school soon, after he finishes up with us. And that's just a caliber of student athlete that we have. So I'll talk a little bit more about Tech. But Luke, what do you want to talk a little bit about your resume?
Yeah, I'll go ahead. Hey guys, it's not very long. You ain't been doing this for too long. But hey, my name's Luke Scherzer. My second year here at West Virginia Tech, down here in good old Beckley, West Virginia. Gotta love it. An hour and a half away from here is Blacksburg, Virginia. It's where I went to school at Virginia Tech. I was there for 6 years, missed 2 years, 2 medical red shirts for 2 Tommy John surgeries. You learn a lot from being hurt, being away from the game, sitting on the sidelines. And I really started to really get a passion for not only just baseball, but coaching baseball and being around the guys and really trying to help, the younger guys out. And so, it's really been a big passion of mine to coach baseball, and I've been doing it for a couple of years. I also coached collegiate summer baseball league in the Valley in Harrisonburg Turks, in Harrisonburg, Virginia. I just absolutely love what I do. I love the city of Beckley, West Virginia Tech. Our staff is phenomenal. I got here from just fresh out of playing college baseball, and I was very impressed with, Coach Nesselrodt and the rest of the staff, but as well as our team. We had a great team culture. We have a great team culture, really close-knit community with the school. And just the classroom settings, all the guys, they just really, really love it. But a few things about pitching. When we get young guys to come pitch here, and since I've been here, we've really been focusing on strength and conditioning, pitching mechanics, and really learning the game, right? And a lot of kids, when they're coming out of high school, they have, they're not as physically strong as they'd like to be. And they also, it's a big transition from being a thrower to a pitcher. In high school, we just kind of throw the ball up there and we don't really know what we're doing. We're trying to develop young pitchers to be, number one, the best pitcher they can be instead of just being a thrower. And then also we're just grinding in the weight room, all right, trying to learn our new bodies and trying to put on as much weight as possible so we can possibly throw harder, okay, with our throwing program, and also really focusing on, hitting our spots every day. But focus is really learning the mound, learning control of our mechanics and everything like that. Thank you.
Luke, I'm going to talk to you a little bit. I have a question for you as a pitching guy, and you being the same. What when you're looking at recruits and you're looking at kids in high school, what is it? Give me your top 3 things that you're looking for pitchers coming out of high school that you think could be successful in coming into Tech and going through your development and working with them that way. What are your top 3 things you're looking for?
Well, my number one thing is consistency. Now, we can watch videos and see a guy's pitch one or 2 times, but that really doesn't tell us much. Okay, a good pitcher can go out there every single time he's called. His name is called. Go out there and deliver. Right, throwing strikes, getting outs, being a bulldog on the mound. Number 2, athleticism. All right, you got to be in shape. Bottom line, there's no excuse for not being in shape. Now, some guys can run a 6'5", some guys can dunk. Okay, but not all pitchers are that good of athletes, right? But one thing we can always be in control of is how good a shape we're in. All right, and I can always tell. And number 3 would be arm action. Okay, being able to tell that a kid goes and throws all the time, right? Not always pitching all the time and throwing too many pitches in a game or so, but just knowing that the guy, knowing that I can tell that a guy is a natural thrower, right? Really a guy who's been working on his craft and doesn't just pick up a baseball in the spring and plays for 3 months and then puts down the baseball. So that's something, those are the 3 things we can really tell and that we really look for, at least I do.
Cool. Good. Good information. Coach Nesselrodt, West Virginia Tech, NAIA school. Only one in West Virginia, I believe, right?
That's correct.
Talk a little bit about the differences. I mean, you've been NCAA, now you're NAIA, you've been NJCAA. Talk a little bit about the differences and, maybe recruiting wise and everything else like that.
Yeah, I'm happy to. I appreciate the question. And we get that in quite a bit, just trying to, because again, a lot of people familiar with NCAA, and back in the day when I think you and I played, a lot of the small schools were NAI. It was basically NCAA was Division I and Division III, which is scholarship or no scholarship. But, things have kind of moved to the point where I said mid-90s or so is when the NCAA kind of acted like Walmart and just sucked in everybody to be a part of them. NAIA was a great organization, which basically represented small college athletics. And some of the programs have been, and WVU Tech is an example of that. We had gone to a situation where we were and NAIA then moved to Division II, and now we're back at the NAIA level. And there's about 190 programs around the country that play baseball. Outstanding competition, man. That's the biggest thing is, as I said, it was a fixer-upper when I got here. When I started in fall of 08, there was only 8 guys on the team. So, I knew I had to find at least one more guy before the spring semester, and we were fortunate to bring in 8 guys, and we started that first year with we never had more than 14 that were healthy or eligible at the same time. But somehow we managed to win 18 games that year, man. And it was probably as rewarding of a year that I've coached in the 38, just simply because we maintained the mentality of making the most of what we had instead of complaining about what we didn't have. And again, small colleges, that's probably the biggest difference is facilities, compared to a Division I. But at the same time, there's a lot of the NAI programs, Division II programs that have great facilities. But consistently across the board, I think that's a separation. One thing, we're very proud of our academic status of WVU Tech. We're the #1 engineering program in the state of West Virginia, have been for many years. Great history of reputation with that. I tell people if I were making a lineup based on our academics, mechanical, civil engineering would be our 3-4 hole hitters without question. But we're strong in business. We're strong in criminal justice program that we have a sport management degree, which parallels exactly what they do at WVU. So that's one thing I think that sets us apart from any of the other NAIA schools. And really, I think we're competitive with any other small school. And Luke had touched on the fact that, in the classroom, it's a small school atmosphere. And especially when you're trying to do baseball and engineering or, I just talked to a young man today, he's a Puerto Rican player that is looking to go into biology and anything in our math and sciences, man, we feel like we can be competitive with anyone that we're recruiting against because we have that great foundation. You mentioned a number of teams in West Virginia. We're the only NAIA school, and I like that. It's basically separates us. We play in a very competitive conference. Point Park there in Pittsburgh. And you see behind Luke, I got the Clemente picture on the wall in his office, one in my office as well. Though we're big Pirate fans, or at least I am. But bottom line, Point Park has a very good program, very competitive every year. There's 2 programs in Ohio. There's 3 programs in Kentucky and 3 teams in our conference from Indiana. So, and we're going to continue to grow. I hear, different people talking about the possibility of moving from NCAA Division II to NAIA. I like it, and, I hope to retire at WVU Tech. I just turned 60, and I'm hoping to have a few more years, and maybe I'd like to parallel John Wooden maybe at the end of his career, just win a bunch of national championships until I don't have room on the mantle for it. But bottom line, comparatively, there's not a lot of difference between the NAIA and Division II, which is probably the one that parallels most. Division III, there's some outstanding programs. So, when you're looking at quality of programs, it really comes down to that individual choices that I think when that kid's looking at what he wants to do, junior college is a good option. There's some great programs in this region, around the country. But when you're looking at a 4-year school, there's some good Division III programs. So I tell you what, I encourage guys. That's why we tell them, hey, go look at some other places and meet the coaches, look at the facilities, geographically, how far is it away from home? I can still remember, when Division I's were talking about the Power 5 move, and everybody was jumping into it, and I think it was Mac Brown that when he at Texas, I believe. Yep. I remember him saying when he talked to a recruit, he thought it was going to be great if he was able to talk to a parent about they could come and watch their son play on Saturday. And, I think that's a variable that we kind of lost. And I think, I think that is something that's important. At the same time, you look at our roster, we got guys from California, we got guys from Miami, we got guys from Canada, and, I've coached them from Venezuela, and, we're talking to, Coach Nizer there, I think he played in junior college in New York, and I think it's Caracas, has some players that may be interested. So we've had Venezuela and Dominican Republic. I mentioned Puerto Rican recruit I talked to this morning. So we're pretty widespread, but I think our academics is the thing that really brings attention to WVU Tech. And man, I got a great staff. You got to meet Luke a little bit, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. He talked about the conditioning program at our place. We have a full-time strength and weight conditioning coach, Scott Considine, who actually helps me as the recruiting coordinator. And so he as well as, being a coach himself, a good baseball man, has Army background, 2 tours in Iraq, 2 in Afghanistan. So he's a motivator just on who he is. And just loves the game. That Scott's been a great addition. He and Luke are both in their second year. I have another guy that named Paul Ackerman, who played at Davis and Elkins before me, was part of a great team there. Paul went on and was a catcher in the Pirate minor league system, and had a great professional career after D&E. And then when he finished up in the Pirate organization, he was hired by Dale Ramsburg at WVU. He was actually a Division I coach for 5 years, and just retired. He got when he left D&E or left WVU. He coached at the high school level, just retired, and he and I have been friends. Our playing days even before college, but we ended up both playing at D&E, and talked about, he has a son, and he said, I always wanted, he said, I'd love for him to play for me. And fortunately, good Lord worked it out to where he actually played for Coach Bazarnik at 1 year at Allegheny, his son, John. And then he transferred and as a first baseman outfielder for us, pretty good left-handed hitter. And Paul came along as a throw-in. He was a player to be named later. And he's our hitting coach as well as just a guru of batting practice. My other assistant coach, my fourth one, you save the best for last, a guy named Joe Goddard, who's from the Beckley area, was a recruit that played at Marshall. There was a catcher also, as Paul was, and Joe actually ended up being an 8th round draft pick out of Marshall by the Padres, made it up and played in the big leagues. Had 2 different call-ups and had a 6-year career in professional baseball. And he too, when he finished pro ball, came back to the Beckley area, was a legendary high school coach at Independence High School, where 36 years, when he left, they had named the field after him, won a state championship, and he just wasn't done with baseball. So when our school actually moved to Beckley, which was the fall of 2017, Joe let me know that he was still interested in being involved in the game, and man, what a blessing that he was a great player. He was a great coach at the high school level and is a great coach at the college level. But I tell people he may be a better parent than anything, because both of his kids were valedictorians and both of them are doctors now. So Joe's a unique person and just a great human being. And just, again, all 4 of my assistants just have a strong passion for the game. And I think probably that's the number one question I ask any kid that when he says he wants to play college baseball, and I say, do you love it? And because if you can't be lukewarm, man, you got to love it if you're going to put the time in to try to, be a part of a culture that Luke mentioned is one of our highlights as our program right now, because we have them early in the weight room. Right now, we're counting on their integrity to be the type of individual that's going to train on their own and do the things that are necessary to come back in and hopefully jump in and get ready to play, because we have our first game the first weekend of February. So it's going to be relying on their commitment and their character over the break here, because they went home before Thanksgiving and they weren't going to be back until mid-January. So very little preseason, not much spring training going on before we strap it on for the first time.
I hear you. And I know that has to be a worry when kids are away that long. And as Luke was saying, hey, are you going to stay in shape? Are you going to come back in shape and everything? They go home and, they see everybody and the work elements not quite there. But, some really good things. You had one of my favorite kids, a kid that played for me, Dougie Pollock down there and everything. What a character he was, and a unique experience going through his recruiting stuff from when he played. I mean, he wasn't a client, but I know one thing. I know he's loved it down there, and and done well and sending you stuff. I always talk to my clients. It's funny that you mentioned, you're mentioning Puerto Rico, Canada, everything. And I talk to my kids all the time. I said, when you're going into college sports and that, I said, it's not just, you and that little pond that you're in and everything. Now you're going against people in the United States and like in baseball, hey, Puerto Rico, Venezuela, the Dominican sends players up. Canada is a very untapped area. I know a lot of good players in baseball and softball coming from there. And I just think it's neat to hear, you as a college coach putting it out there that, hey, here I am in Beckley, West Virginia, and California, different countries, everything like that. So, I mean, that's fantastic. Just want to talk a little bit, get into yours and West Virginia Tech's philosophy of baseball, your way that you like your teams to play, what you look for recruiting wise to sit there and go about that, or do you change, but based on the people that you can bring in? Can you and Luke both can talk about that.
All right. That yeah, without question. I mean, that's the key in having success is, again, I highlighted that first team I coached here. Again, the 8 players that I inherited, there were 4 guys that basically they were finishing their degrees, seniors that were just wrapping things up. 4 Puerto Ricans were on that team that, and basically we brought in a mixed bag of guys that I was able to dig up from September. And that really epitomized, I think, kind of the identity of who we need to be. And that, again, it's collecting a bunch of guys that are there to love the game, to learn the game. And I think it's our responsibility to adapt to that individual instead of saying, hey, this is our philosophy. You need to hit this way, throw that way. It's our job is to have the versatility as a coach. And I think that's what the great ones, and I learned that from Cal Bailey, bring guys in that, number one, share the passion that you have. They're going to be people that are committed to the game. They're committed to their education. And, they're going to be willing to make the change, the adjustments that are necessary. At the same time, we have to have that flexibility. And that's why, again, I think whether I'm, been in the game for a long time, I'm not going to mention Coach Goddard's age because I'm not sure what it is. I tell him, especially when we're on the golf course, he needs to produce a birth certificate before I let him hit from those red tees. At the bottom line, no matter how old you are, you still love this game because of the uniqueness that it's ever changing. It's a different game than when I was a kid watching Roberto Clemente grow up and being passionate about him as a player, but it was him as a person that separated him, and is still a reason. There's a great museum there in Lawrenceville and why he is who he is
he's a god here,
and he should be.
Exactly.
Our country's crazy right now with, just where it's at. But there's a guy that he fought a racial variable in the 50s and 60s and came through it with class and integrity himself. And I think if we can teach the kids to have that in their approach to the game, and this is a game that, you look behind Luke on the wall there, you see Nolan Ryan and the Robin Ventura. You ask what we look for. I was a Pirate fan, but I got a picture of Ventura and when he charged the mound against Nolan Ryan, and I've got the other picture behind Luke is Pete Rose. And I wasn't a Rose fan, but I tell you what, I love the way he played the game. And I tell everybody who comes in, every recruit comes in, and I say, hey, as a position guy, you play like Rose did, and if you pitch like with the attitude that Nolan Ryan had, we're going to get along just fine. Now, the beauty of having a young guy like Luke and Coach Scherzer or Coach Considine, they're younger coaches that probably have more of a feel for younger guys as far as whether it be in the weight room or whether it be in the training format. Because I'm not a launch angle guy, but I'm not going to be opposed to it. If a guy's dropping bombs, I'm going to, one of my first things I learned from Ron Polk at a clinic up in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. They asked him, he said, "Coach, what'd you tell Will Clark about hitting?" He said, I told him three things over and over. He said, "Nice hit, Will. Attaboy, Will, and keep it up, Will." So, if it ain't broke, you don't fix it. But at the same time, there's very few Will Clarks, and it's our job is to adjust and make him the best hitter he can be. It's a game that's always going to come back to balance. And I think we'd all love to have speed. There's only a handful of 5-tool guys out there. I had a pro scout a couple of years ago who spoke to our team, and he quizzed them as far as how many 5-tool guys are in the big leagues, and he identified Mookie Bettis and Mike Trout. We're not going to get those guys. I mean, but if a guy has an outstanding tool, but again, when I look behind Luke over his left shoulder, I see the uniform of Dylan Harvey. Dylan Harvey was a kid that played for us from the same hometown area as Luke in the Richmond, Virginia area. That Dylan ran a 6.29. I'd never had anybody run like actually 6.25. He'd correct me if he sees this interview. He was a 6.25 guy that could absolutely fly, and ended up being a great college player. Unfortunately, didn't get an opportunity to play beyond that, but it was exaggerating that tool. I'm a great defensive guy, and you find a kid's strength, but and you play to their strength, and you work on your weaknesses. That's how you become the best ball player you can be. So that's kind of our philosophy. Luke, you got anything to add to that overall?
Yeah, I mean, that's perfect. It's just kind of knowing your identity as a player, and it's our responsibility to coach that player in that way. We're definitely not cookie cutter. We're not a cookie cutter coaching staff by any means. And we got pitchers on our staff who are 6'5", who throw a completely different way than a kid who for instance is 5'7", 5'8". You know what I'm saying? And so nobody really throws exactly the same way. We just try to put each player in the best possible situation they can be, mechanically, mentally, physically, whatever it might be. And we take all of our knowledge that we know about the game and just try to throw it on them. And hope it sticks, and just to know that we know the game. We have a lot of experience, especially between all 5 of us and the coaching staff. And we bounce a lot of ideas off ourselves, and we also allow those players to be involved as well. It's kind of more of and we just want to make sure each kid is getting the best instruction as they possibly can. That way, you gotta coach a kid as an individual instead of as an entire group, and that just goes to show that we just put in as much time as we can with each guy. We don't bring in a ton of different players each year, which kind of keeps us from having too much instruction and time with each player. So we like to keep it a lot more personal, for sure.
Good points. In my business, and been coaching and all that. Now I'm into the national recruiting thing and everything. Talking to people, parents. There's this mentality of D1 or bust and everything. And I think the reason that I've been successful in what I do is I'm a lot like you guys. And you know what? I keep things, as honest as I can, evaluate and it's Coach Ness, you had talked a little bit about it's that right fit mentality and all that, and finding, I always tell a kid when I was signing them to help them, and they're like, how do I know when I find the right school and everything. I said, you'll find the right school when you can tell me if I wasn't playing baseball there, that I'm at the place where I'm going to be happy because it's going to take care of me the next 40 years of my life. And I like to put it that way. I just think that it's been wonderful, and it was a little pat on the back to myself for thinking about bringing, doing these interviews and meeting coaching staffs and people with different philosophies and all that through the levels and the divisions of everything. Just talk a little bit, with the world today and COVID and everything like that. How has it hampered you, or what changes, what adaptations have you had to make as far as your recruiting and everything like that, and in your program? You're saying you're getting ready to go in February. I mean, we're going like this and crossing our fingers that it gets like that. Just talk about some of the changes and stuff that you have to do, and how you keep your players positive through all this.
Well, again, that's the beauty, and the good Lord again has blessed me with a great staff, and we're at a great institution that has a challenge academically for them. So our guys are they're forced to maintain their focus and in those areas. And baseball specific bottom line, we had a tough fall. It was crazy. Luke and Joe did a great job as far as juggling our class or our practices. Basically, we started out, we could only have 10 guys at a time, so we went small groups. And back in the junior college days when there was no rules, I remember scrimmaging Coach Bailey one day, for like 7 hours or something. We were on it was a fall game, and we just went all day long. And I thought 7-8 hours on the field was a long day. Of course, you don't think that when you're out there because you're loving it. And but the bottom line, this fall we actually had one practice or one day where we were on the field from 9 a.m. till 6 p.m. And just because we had 5 different 10-man groups that came up, and we want to give each kid an opportunity to show us what they can do, because that's what fall ball is about. You mentioned Doug Pollock. He's still with us. I mean, he's a good senior year, man. It's awesome. He just a great guy. He's going to get his degree. His dad, Doug, as well. And they're diehard Pirate fans, and we have great conversation with them. So I'm excited to hopefully have him.
You
finish.
You might not get him out of Beckley. I see him on Instagram and everything else like that. He's turning into that Beckley kid.
That's great, man. We love him down there, and look forward to him playing. And you never know, coaching wise, man. He's a kid that he probably needs to be around the game, because he's going to be good for the game, not just the way he plays but hopefully he can share that same passion that you have in what you do. And again, just to finish up on the COVID thing, we went about 4 weeks with the limit of 10 guys in a workout. And of course, we got to, check the temperatures. We've got to make sure that they come in, they put their bags in a separate area. Those guys, after their workout, they go out a different gate. The other guys have to wait till they're all gone before they come in. So it was pretty wild. I'm sure everybody was running the same craziness just to make it happen, but we were very fortunate. We had no outbreaks. We had a couple contacts that that people had to quarantine, but we were able to get through about 4 weeks of the 10-man groups, and then we were able to go with 2 20-man groups, and then basically identified those 10 guys probably going to be red shirts. So we worked them out separately. So we were able to give a little bit more time to the guys that are going to probably be impact guys in the spring. And then we were very blessed to finish up with two 25-man teams, and we strapped it on, had a 5-game series that was real baseball. And, that's the unfortunate thing for the players. They just haven't had a chance to play. And this is a game where you got to play to get better. And summer baseball, they were limited. The springs were cut short, and falls were very limited. So, yeah, we're crossing our fingers as well, hoping that, we can get back to a normal work environment. And it's been, tough even in our out of season perspective. And again, that's one great thing I like about NAIA baseball. We had 8 weeks of fall baseball that we could work with the kids. You're more limited in the NCAA. So that's a plug for the NAIA choice when you're making that decision. But the bottom line, that is one that's a glaring advantage for us to be able to be on the field with those guys. We have an awesome indoor facility. It's just opened up called the Sandlot. They've invited us in there where we're just a couple miles from campus. That's the indoor home of the Golden Bears. As far as their indoor facility, it has 4 batting cages and a pitching area, a turfed area that we can do the strength and conditioning as well as infield work. And we're very blessed to have what we have, and anxious because we're only in our 4th year in Beckley, but it's a great baseball town that the best is yet to come. So we're looking forward to a vaccine and hopefully putting this craziness behind us. I tell every recruit, I hope that this is something when they turn 60 that they can say was a once in a lifetime experience, because it's certainly been that for us.
Sure. Well, guys, you know what? I really appreciate it. And just to end up, Coach has talked about his recruiting, and he knows I've seen him up here in Pittsburgh at Coach Gilmore's satellite events. I see him out there on the recruiting trail all the time at showcases, and I send players information his way. Lot of respect for you, getting to meet Luke, and I can see that you're a tight-knit staff, and I really appreciate all the information you guys, gave us today. And as well as I do, Coach, if you need anything, man, I'm a phone call away. Just give it to me, and I wish you guys all the best, and you all have a Merry Christmas, and I'll be talking to you soon.
Thank you very much, man. I tell you what, you guys what you're doing has been, we've relied a lot on, services like what you're providing, not just here today, but throughout your career, because that's become even more of a necessity for us. So thank you for what you do, and Merry Christmas to you and your family. And we look forward to talking again soon.
Sounds great. Coach Scherzer, you take care. It was great meeting you, and keep this guy in line here.
I'll try. No promises.
Pleasure. You have a great Christmas, and I'll be putting this on. It'll be published in probably about 20 minutes.
Great. Thanks again.
All right, guys. Take care.